Hi students, today we are going to be learning how to draw guidelines and draw bubble letters. So the tools that you're going to need is an A4 paper, a ruler, pencil, eraser, sharpener, and some nice felt tips to use, whichever ones that you have. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is, as usual, we are going to label our work. So at the top left corner, we're going to put our name, our class, and today's date. Once we're done with that, you're going to put the title. And the title for today's work is How to Use Guidelines and Draw Bubble Letters. All right, let's begin. So we are going to be creating 3 types of guidelines and 3 types of bubble letters. All right, so let's just label our space down. That's 1. The first one we are going to do is just a regular old guideline. There are 2 parallel lines, so parallel means lines that do not meet. So we're going to draw a nice line across our page, making sure that we just glide our ruler down. Make sure that your points are at equal distance. If you can see that your points are not at equal distance, that means that your line is not parallel. So you need to adjust your ruler, shift it so that they're parallel, hold your ruler down, and draw a nice line across. So there you go. That's our first guideline. Our second guideline is going to be 2 diagonal lines. So for this one, I'm just going to shift my ruler so that it's a diagonal line, and then shift it down and lightly draw another line. All right, now for our third guideline, we are going to be drawing 2 curves similar to a wave, making sure that they are at equal distance. There we go. That's our 3 guidelines. Now, why are guidelines important? Guidelines are important because they create the space in which we would like to draw. So they, as the name says, it's self-explanatory. A guideline guides us, and so that we can make sure that we are drawing in the space that we want to draw, and our work is nice and neat. So these are the 3 different types of bubble letters we're going to use in these space. So cloud letters, straight lines, and then curved lines. All right, so using the side of the pencil, we're going to write out a name. It could be anything random. For cloud letters, I'm going to do our letter. So O, M, A, and R. Now for cloud letters, we have to make sure that we're leaving space between the letters so that we are able to buffer out the space around it. All right, for the letter O, we're just going to curve around, creating small cloud-like curves all around that letter that we've drawn as a guide. Then on the inside, we're going to go for an opposite direction. You're going to continue this for the rest of the letters. So M is the same way. You can start at the bottom or the top. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way around. All right, now that we have all the bubble letters done, we are going to move on to the straight lines. Now the straight lines can be a little tricky because we need our rulers to draw out our letters. So what I like to do first is just to get an idea of the space that I'm working with. I'm going to just draw out my name. I'm going to start with the name Sara for this. So S-A-R and then A, making sure that our lines are visible and we have enough space to work with. So now that we've done planning out our space, we are going to use our ruler to create straight lines across the letters that we've done. I'm going to go through all of the letters similar to this, blocking out the letters. You can find a midpoint and work from there if it helps to join the letters and work our way through all the 4 letters that we have. Now for our last style of bubble letters, we are going to do curved lines. We're going to follow this guide. I love the curved lines because we can do it freehand. So I'm going with the name Bede, starting with the B. Nice clean lines. You can connect the letters, you can have them separated. It's just working with the space that we have, staying within our guides. And continuing over, making sure that our lines are nice and neat, keeping it curved. The E is a little tricky, but we can work within the space that we have. Then the R, curve back around, middle, and then we're done. So there you go, 3 different guidelines with 3 different styles of bubble letters. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to choose a few colors to outline these letters. Now generally I would go for darker colors to outline the letters, especially if I'm drawing with pencils, because I won't be able to see the pencil lines. So I'm going to show you a few examples of why using light colors like your orange, your blues, pinks, yellow can be a little difficult to use to outline, but I will show you how to use it. Now for the first one, the cloud letters, I am going to choose a darker color. I'm going to go with a dark purple. So all I'm going to do is, with the line that I've drawn already, I'm just going to curve around nice and neatly around all the lines that I've drawn. Same with the inside, right over the pencil lines. Now because it is dark, I don't need to erase my pencil line. When I erase all the extra lines that we have around our bubble letters, nothing is going to show. So I'm going to just continue doing this to all of the letters. And there we go, that's the cloud letters done. Now we're going to move on to the second bubble letter style that we have, which is straight lines. I'm going to use a lighter color. I'm going to use orange to show you the steps of what we need to do. So the first thing we need to do is gently erase all the pencil lines that you see, or just enough so that you can still see very faintly the lines that you are using, or the lines that you have drawn. So get a nice layer all around. It doesn't show up on camera, but I can see my lines very clearly still. So just as an example, I'm going to write out 2 letters, 2 letter S's. That's one. That's another, and the purpose of this is for me to show you why we need to erase our pencil lines, if we are using a light color to outline. So I'm going to leave the pencil line for one, but erase the other. Now I'm going to use a light color to outline. You can see as I'm outlining, we can still see our pencil line. We don't want that. But when I outline, where I've erased my pencil line, you can see very clearly that it is much neater. So that's what we're trying to do, all right? Now we can go ahead and outline the letters. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to freehand this actually. If you're feeling a little bit more confident, go ahead and freehand it. If you feel like you need a little bit more practice, then of course you can use your ruler. Go ahead and outline all of the letters. All right, and that's another one done. Now for the last style of bubble letters, I am going to use a dark blue to go over the lines. I'm just going to go ahead and trace over the lines that I've drawn nice and neatly. A nice trick for you to do when you're going over lines and you want to keep your lines nice and neat is to hold your breath. If you go over the lines, you can hold your breath like this part. There we go, and down, across. And this helps to steady your hands so that when you're drawing, you don't have to draw small little lines that connect with each other. Rather, you can draw a nice, just one neat line that goes across. And there we go, that one's done. Now to finish it off, just for final touches, we are going to erase our guidelines. Now with an eraser, we're going to erase everything. Hold your paper down and gently erase all the lines off. All right, look at how neat that's looking. I am going to show you an example of why it is very important for us to keep our pencil lines light and the difference it makes when we're erasing. So here's a very light pencil line that I'm drawing, and I'm going to draw a really dark pencil line. I'm going to apply a lot of pressure. Now when I erase the light pencil line, you can see that it disappears completely, but when I try to erase the darker pencil line, it's actually very difficult to get the graphite off of the paper. So it makes a really big difference, and it's very important for us to work with a light pencil line so that our final product can be as neat as possible. Now you can go ahead and color in your work, add more patterns, whatever it is that you feel would enhance it. But you can see how easy it is for you to draw bubble letters very neatly while using guidelines.